consider them a lot like Tim and Eric in a way because they're absolutely out of their minds and they're just silly as fucking hell, and it's impossible to explain what they do to somebody. Like, I feel like they're the same, and my love of Ween as a band made me love Tim and Eric more, which is weird because Yvonne doesn't really like Tim and Eric.
I will watch more Tim and Eric as long as you play Yeti Hunter and Snowfall. These two indie games that I feel like you should play. They're both similarly themed. They both take place in a cold, foreboding winter setting.
Okay.
They're both terrible.
Well, I did make my mark on the world by playing things that people put effort into and calling them bad. As though I had any place to judge.
Well, sometimes you just judge their business model, like you've been doing with Omegalodon.
Well, yeah, I could go on about that for a while, but essentially, I don't think that indie games shouldn't charge up front anymore, because you're not, especially if they're, I mean, you can if it's a single-player game.
If they're multiplayer,
if it's a multiplayer game, a multiplayer-focused game, and you charge up front, you're not going to get anybody to fucking play. You need to get people playing the game to want to buy it, or pay any money for it, because you can't play a multiplayer game that nobody else is playing. And you're not going to put down $10 if you're not sure that anyone's going to be there to play against you. It's, so, they need to, like, give the game away, and then have something that you can pay for later, premium content, different, like, vehicles or whatever. Something, like, if I made a game right now, I never will because I don't have the patience to do anything, but if I did, I would give it away. I would, for free. And then make people pay for the, penis to get larger, or for the vagina to become more moist, like you would start with a dry vagina, and then if you pay like $2 or something, you can have a moist pink vagina rather than like
and less floppy, like
the flaky gray one.
Nubile, or a younger vagina.
Yeah,
seems sound. I think a lot of people would pay for that.
Yeah, well, it's more of an upgrade than like a side grade system where you just have a different vagina that plays differently, which is also valid.
I've been having a lot of side vagina problems lately.
Really?
In my life because, well, I'm involved now. Like, I'm in a committed relationship to a degree, and since then, waitresses and female clerks at food and government services things that I go to keep flirting with me more than I've ever recognized or had happen before I was involved. I don't know what the deal is.
Are you with her when this is happening, or is it just
no?
You're what's happening is you're exuding confidence, and they're picking up on it. For several reasons. Taken guys that are in relationships, they're more attractive. Because you get the idea that, first of all, women are naturally competitive, and they want to take away whatever, the other females have. But also, and that's just them being dastardly, but also, when you are in a relationship, they can see that you're probably not an insane person. Because you're capable of having a girlfriend already. Like, if you're an attractive young man and you're single, they're afraid that maybe the rest of your ex-girlfriends are in trash bags at the bottom of the lake.
Right. Yeah, well, I mean, you haven't given them any reason to not think that.
Exactly.
Let's face it. I don't know, like, maybe I'm just imagining things. I'll give you two examples of it. One, I was at the DMV. It's not called that here in Canada, but it's basically the DMV. To get my sticker renewed for my license plate. And I go in, and the girl at the counter who was serving me while I was there, she was very, like, giggly, and she kept on, like, messing things up or forgetting to put something through, and then like overly talking about how she was messing it up or something like that, and then she knows that my license plate is AWRY008, okay? And she was saying, that's so crazy that that's not a vanity plate, that you just got that normally. You should tell girls about that. They'll think it's poetic or something.
What the hell does it mean?
That your license plate is a rye 08. And then the weird thing was, she wasn't saying a rye right. She was saying Ari. She was like, it says Ari 008. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's a rye. Ari is not a word. How do you say it? And I was just... So I was so, like, it put me in such a weird place that I was just kind of, like, nervously laughing along with any joke she made. I couldn't really interject with anything smooth because it was just so...
You had nothing to play off of because you were talking to one of the world's least clever people.
I don't think I looked that, like, enticing or attractive at the time either. I had a huge cold sore on my lip and was unshaven.
Oh, nasty.
Must have looked gross. I mean...
She was attracted to you when you had herpes on your face?
I've got both of my eyes and two arms, but other
fucking...
than that, like, I wasn't exactly the picture of handsome masculinity. Like,
holy shit.
Maybe she was just whacked out on something. The other one was, I was at a Second Cup. I don't know if you have those in the States. They're like a competitor of Starbucks here.
No.
But like we've had Second Cups way longer than we've had Starbucks, obviously, because Starbucks is an American-founded company. But,
I don't need your fucking life story.
Sorry,
Holy
I'll get to the point. We gotta keep this podcast concise, damn it.
You're telling me?
I was at a Second Cup and I was going in, and it was just the same thing. Like, girl at the cash, being all, like, giggly, like, this time being clumsy. Like, she'd go to hand me something and she'd almost knock something else over, and then she'd laugh about it. Very clearly nervous. And then, when I went through, I got a latte, but with lactose-free milk, because I'm lactose intolerant. When I got through and got that, she put, like, latte art on it of a little heart, which... They don't usually do latte art at a Second Cup, you know what I mean? Like, it's a very corporate, like, it's a very no-frills, like, it's just one level above going to a Tim Hortons or something here. It's not really a big deal.
So, she was in love with you?
She was in love with me, I think. I think that heart was meant to represent her romantic intentions with me right there in the store.
Alright. Well...
I didn't have herpes that time.
Oh, that's a plus, certainly.
I think that one's more of a control case.
I think these are all good signs. Because, it's better for that than the reaction that I get when I go and I want, like, a coffee or something, and basically they don't make eye contact. Sometimes they make a little cross with their fingers and, like, wave it in my face. It doesn't burn me. It just upsets me.
So you're saying flirtatious clerks, as long as they don't injure you with their clumsiness, are preferable to overtly hateful ones that are exaggeratingly, comedically dismissive of you to the point of treating you like a vampire. The only other thing I wrote down was herpes, and we already talked about that.
Okay. I'm sorry that you have herpes.
Well, it comes and goes. I'm pretty old now. I got it when I was a kid, obviously, from my parents that had herpes, and the older you get, the less of a problem it is, because your immune system gets used to fighting it off, so you don't tend to get them as often, and they don't stick around as long when you're older. Yeah,
my mother gets cold sores, and my girlfriend's mother gets cold sores, but we don't have them.
Well,
I do have a fungus, though.
What I didn't know was I was always told that you could only spread it when you actually had a sore, or like when it was around the time that you were going to get a sore was when you were sort of infectious, and you shouldn't be, sharing glasses that are unwashed with other people, or kissing anyone, or playing lip rub or anything like that. But apparently, you're actually contagious all of the time if you have herpes. You're not very contagious, and the chances of someone else contracting it are low, but your saliva can still potentially carry the virus in it. So you shouldn't really be kissing people if you have herpes.
Just
unless
ever?
you're... Well, I mean, you can, and people do, and whatever, because it's just herpes. It's not like you're giving them some kind of, like, life-threatening disease or something. You're just giving them a mildly inconvenient facial thing that comes up, like, once every 2 years and they have to deal with for a week. Like, it's not exactly like you're dooming them, but people should know that if you have whatever it's called, the HSV1 virus, if you're in an intimate relationship with someone, like, you can give them herpes even if you don't have a sore out. It's just very unlikely, but your saliva still carries it, so you have to be careful. It's definitely something I didn't know, so I was going around potentially infecting people. I mean, I don't think I have, because no one that I've been in a relationship with has seemed to have come back to me later and gone...
I don't have it. I didn't get it from you.
You can also carry the virus without showing any symptoms as well, so...
So, like, if you have that and you spit, like, on people...
into people's mouths, like, you develop kind of a personality where, you know, your signature move is you walk into a room and flash people the finger pistols and spit in their mouths. It's a bad idea if you have herpes. It's a bad move.
I'm not sure that, I mean, you'd have to be really,